धन्यवाद माननीय सदस्य डॉक्टर भागवत कराड़ 15 मिनट।
माननीय उपसभापति महोदया, आज सभागृह में बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट बिल आया है। हमारे कार्तिक शर्मा जी जो हमारे विद्वान सदस्य हैं, उनके माध्यम से ये बिल आया है, जिसके माध्यम से हमारे यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी का मंत्र जो है, जो विचार है कि भारत को एक विकसित राष्ट्र हमें बनाना है, तो विकसित राष्ट्र बनाने के लिए अनुसंधान की जरूरत है। मुझे याद आ रही है लाल बहादुर शास्त्री जी जब प्रधानमंत्री थे, उसी वक्त उन्होंने एक नारा दिया था, जय जवान जय किसान। जो जवान दिन रात बॉर्डर पे मेहनत करते हैं और हमें सुरक्षित रखते हैं, तो उन्हीं के लिए जय जवान ये नारा था। और जो किसान दिन रात खेत में काम करके अनाज पकाते हैं, अनाज बनाते हैं और हम सब अन्नदाता बनते हैं, इसीलिए उन्होंने नारा दिया था जय किसान। उसके बाद हमारे यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री श्रद्धेय अटल जी, इन्होंने भी एक नारा दिया था, जय जवान जय किसान और जय विज्ञान। तो जय विज्ञान के माध्यम से आपको सभी को मालूम है, सभी भारतवासियों को मालूम है, सभी दुनिया को मालूम है, उन्हीं के माध्यम से जो नारा दिया था, जय जवान जय किसान जय विज्ञान। और विज्ञान के माध्यम से राजस्थान में उनके माध्यम से एक अनुस्फोट किया था, और उसी वक्त भारत देश की ताकत सब दुनिया को मालूम पड़ी। और अभी हमारे यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री माननीय मोदी जी ने अभी नारा दिया है, जय जवान जय किसान जय विज्ञान और जय अनुसंधान, यानी रिसर्च एंड डेवलपमेंट। ये ऐसा एक तरीका है, इसके माध्यम से भारत एक विकसित राष्ट्र बन सकता है, भारत एक विकसनशील देश बन सकता है। इसीलिए अनुसंधान को बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण इम्पोर्टेंस दिया है। मैं आप सभी को बताना चाहता हूं, जैसे पहले सदस्य ने बताया कि हमारा भारत देश में 140 करोड़ जनता का ये देश है और ये यंगेस्ट देश है, यानी एवरेज एज ऑफ दिस पीपल और आवर सिटीजन्स इज 25 to 30 के भाई बीच में 65% है। वैसा ही हमारे देश में लार्जेस्ट डेमोक्रेसी है, तो यंगेस्ट देश, लार्जेस्ट डेमोक्रेसी। और अगर हम हमारा देश जाकर देखें, डाइवर्सिटी विथ यूनिटी, यानी अलग अलग स्टेट में अलग अलग भाषा हो, अलग अलग धर्म हो, अलग अलग पंथ हो, लेकिन राष्ट्र के लिए हम सब एक है। और इस राष्ट्र को अगर हमें विकसित करना है, तो हर एक को अनुसंधान के माध्यम से विकसित राष्ट्र बनाने के लिए अनुसंधान की फैसिलिटी देना चाहिए। और मैं इसीलिए बताना चाहता हूं, अगर हम 10 साल का अगर फिगर निकालें, तो gross expenditure on research and development has doubled in the last decade. 2004 से 2014 तक अगर फिगर हम देखें तो 60,196 करोड़ थी। लेकिन माननीय प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में पिछले 10 साल में ये फिगर 2013 से 2014 तक 1,27,381 करोड़ हो चुकी है। ऑलमोस्ट मोर देन डबल रिसर्च के बारे में एक्सपेंडिचर हो चुका है। उतना ही नहीं तो मैं 2 साल से, यानी 2023-24 और 2024-25 और इसमें 1 लाख करोड़ अनुसंधान के लिए हमारे बजट में प्रोविजन किया है। एनीबडी इन एनी फील्ड, हमारा अगर कोई साइंटिस्ट हो, स्टूडेंट हो, अगर कोई रिसर्च कर रहा है, तो उसी के लिए उनको पैसा मिल सकता है। मैं अलग अलग सेक्टर में बताना सकता हूं। ऑनरेबल प्राइम मिनिस्टर एम्फसाइज्ड द इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ द रिसर्च एंड डेवलपमेंट इन अमृतकाल, और इसीलिए अनुसंधान को भी महत्व दिया है। अनुसंधान नेशनल रिसर्च फाउंडेशन बनाया है, जिसके माध्यम से देयर इज अ यूनिफॉर्म रिसर्च इकोसिस्टम ब्रिजिंग द साइंसेस, ह्यूमैनिटीज एंड सोशल साइंसेस टू सपोर्ट आत्मनिर्भर भारत एंड विकसित भारत। द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया अप्रूव्ड वन नेशन वन सब्सक्रिप्शन स्कीम that ensures ONOS This is a scheme that is ensuring nationwide access to the international research articles, which is very important research articles. Suppose there is कुछ अनुसंधान अमेरिका में हुआ है, कोई चाइना में हुआ है, तो that comes all over the journals. तो research articles हो, journals हो, ये हमारे सभी स्टूडेंट्स को, साइंटिस्ट को, प्रोफेसर्स को पढ़ने को आना चाहिए, इसलिए दिस स्कीम है स्टार्टेड एंड इसके लिए बजट भी रखा है. उतना ही नहीं तो वन नेशन वन सब्सक्रिप्शन के माध्यम से इट एक्वायर नेशनल लाइसेंसेस फॉर ई जर्नल्स database from 30 major international publishers, granting access to all their journals. This initiative, that is ONOS, One Nation, One Subscription, this initiative benefits 1.8 crore students, faculty, researchers across all disciplines, including those in two-tier, three-tier cities, fostering both more than crores of people. ONOS, that is One Nation, One Subscription, is a crucial step in integrating India into the global research ecosystem by making high-quality scholarly knowledge and easy accessible. In March 2024, उसी वक्त के हेल्थ मिनिस्टर डॉक्टर मनसुख भाई मांडविया लॉन्च वन प्रोग्राम दैट इज आयुष ICMR, Advanced Central for Integrated Health Research at AIIMS, New Delhi. Dr. Mansukh Mandaviya ji has announced there is one more program on this Anushandhan, that is mega joint initiative between the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare and the Ministry of Ayush, which included the multicentric clinical trial on anemia. Anemia हम सभी को पता है, anemia के माध्यम से हीमोग्लोबिन कम होता है, और हीमोग्लोबिन अगर कम हुआ तो पेशेंट any disease can happen and patient not work. There is a joint effort on established Ayush ICMR Center for Integrative Health Research in AIIMS. जैसा हमारे पूर्व सभासद ने बताया कि artificial intelligence is also very important, and in India there are different scientists are working on the artificial intelligence. India is undergoing a major AI revolution under PM Prime Minister Modi ji's leadership, with the government actively building an AI ecosystem with affordable computing power, GPUs and research opportunities. India's AI mission and computerizing infrastructure is India Mission 2024 allocated 10,300 crore over 5 years to enhance AI capabilities. A high-end computing facility with 18,693 GPUs is being developed, making it one of the largest AI infrastructure globally. So we are aiming to work globally and to see how the India will have a merit in the globally in AI sector. India's AI database platform will provide startups and researchers with high quality and database to reduce innovation barriers. Large-scale non-personal database and will improve AI reliability in agriculture, AI in weather forecasting and traffic management. Similarly, the Centers for Excellence in AI are the ceiling. The government has established 3 centers of excellence for AI in the healthcare, agriculture and sustainable cities in New Delhi. Budget 2025 announces rupees 500 crore AI COE in education. 5 national centers of excellence will train youth in industry relevant AI skills in collaboration with the global firms, supporting the Make for India, Make for the World vision. India's indigenous AI models are India's AI is funding the development of the indigenous AI models, including large language models and problem-specific AI solutions. Digital India will enable AI powerful language translation and voice-based internet access in Indian languages. BharatGen, the world's first government-funded multimodal LLM launched in 2024, will enhance the public service and citizen engagement. Sarwarm 1 and 2 billion parameters at AI model support 10 major Indian languages for translation, summarization, and content generation. Chitralekha and one of the open source video transcriptions tool enable audio transcript editing in Indic languages. Everest, one multilingual AI system, currently supports 35 Indian languages with plans to expand to 90. AI for All, a self-learning online program under the Ministry of Education designated to raise public awareness about the artificial intelligence. Madam, this is about AI I was telling. As we are aware that India आज अगर हम पूरे दुनिया में देखें तो 5वीं इकोनॉमिक सिस्टम बन चुके हैं, 5वां हमारा नंबर है। 2014 में प्रधानमंत्री मोदी साहब ने जब शपथ ली थी उसी वक्त इंडिया का नंबर 10वां था, 10वें से हम 5वें नंबर पे आए हैं, लेकिन अभी हमें तीसरे नंबर पे जाना है। तो इसलिए इस सेक्टर में यानी इकोनॉमिक सेक्टर में भी हमें रिसर्च देखना है, रिसर्च क्या क्या होता है देखना है। मैं अभी माननीय सभासद यानी सभागृह को बताना चाहता हूं, जब प्राइम मिनिस्टर कुछ कांग्रेस के ज़माने में प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने उसी वक्त बताया था जब दिल्ली से हम 1 रुपया भेजो तो बेनिफिशियरी के अकाउंट में सिर्फ 15 पैसे जाते हैं, लेकिन माननीय प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में जाम ट्राइनिटी आई है। जाम जे स्टैंड्स फॉर जनधन आधार, जनधन खाता, ये स्टैंड्स फॉर आधार एंड एम स्टैंड्स फॉर मोबाइल। जाम ट्राइनिटी के माध्यम से डायरेक्ट बेनिफिशियरी अकाउंट में हम पैसे दे सकते हैं। वैसे ही इकोनॉमिक सेक्टर में यूपीआई का जो इनोवेशन भारत ने किया है, जैसा हमारे अभी के सदस्य ने बताया था, यूपीआई के माध्यम से ट्रांजैक्शन जो हो रहा है तो वर्ल्ड वाइज इट्स वेरी गुड ट्रांजैक्शन हो रहा है। तो अभी जैसे पहले सदस्य ने बताया था कि डिजिटल इकोनॉमी फ्यूचर में आने वाले है और उसी लिए भी इनोवेशन होने की ज़रूरत है, और हमारे इकोनॉमिक सेक्टर में भी डिजिटल इकोनॉमी के बारे में भी काम हो रहा है। मैं इतना ही बताना चाहता हूं कि अगर हमें भारत को विकसित भारत बनाना है तो अनुसंधान बहुत ही ज़रूरी है, और अनुसंधान के लिए अनुसंधान नेशनल रिसर्च फाउंडेशन बन चुका है। ये अनुसंधान नेशनल रिसर्च फाउंडेशन हैज़ बीन एस्टैब्लिश्ड थ्रू द Act 2023, which came into effect in February 5th February 2024 for the fiscal year 24-25, and it has been allocated 966 crores. The Anusandhan National Research Foundation aims to receive funds amounting to rupees 50,000 crore during 23 to 28 in the form of funds for the innovation funds, science and engineering research fund for special purpose of the research. Key features of the NRF I will tell in the short to all my members. Key features of the Anusandhan National Research Foundation is global positioning initiatives. The ANRF has formulated progress aimed at enhancing India's position in key sectors globally, driving scientific advancements and fostering an innovative ecosystem. Electrical Vehicle Mobility Program, launched under the Mission for Advancement in High Impact Areas. This initiative addresses priority-driven, solution-focused research in mission mode. It encourages multi-institutional, multidisciplinary collaborations with close industry partnership. Industry partners are required to contribute at least 10% of the project cost in cash. हम सभी को पता है कि electrical vehicles are very important nowadays, and the provision for this is also given in this Anusandhan National Research Foundation. Several programs have been formulated for promoting indigenous research and development in the country. They include Prime Minister Early Career Research and Grant. This scheme is very important for Anusandhan. This scheme supports early career in scientists, enabling them to undertake independent and impactful research to promote indigenous research and development. This is for the beginners of the scientists. Transformation of the institutions to global standards. Our institutions, it may be private, it may be government, but we want to do innovation in these institutions and we want to make this up to the global standards. And for this, there are certain schemes. ANRF, that is Anusandhan National Research Foundation, has developed a program aimed at transforming institutions to meet global standards, promoting translational research and supporting basic research initiatives. These efforts ensure that scientists and researchers receive adequate resources and financial assistance to establish in a global presence. These initiatives reflect Anusandhan National Research Foundation commitment to advancing India's research and innovation landscape through strategic funding and collaborating programs. ANRF also formulated programs for transforming institutions to global standards, translation research, basic research, promotions, etc. These schemes ensure providing proper resources and financial assistance to the scientists and researchers in their bids to carve out a niche at the global fortune. They can do some partnership also for research. If there is a partnership, there are schemes of the government for with the partnership also. If there is a partnership, then partnership for accelerated innovation and research. It is called PAIR, P-A-I-R. The Anusandhan National Research Foundation has launched the Partnership for Accelerated Innovation and Research, an initiative to enhance research capabilities of universities, particularly central and state public institutions in the country. PAIR means Partnership for Accelerated Innovation and Research. PAIR is a multi-institutional program to boost research capability of institutions where research is relatively at nascent stage, early stage, through a mentorship-driven hub and spoke framework by pairing them with well-established top-tier institutions. Research hub will be guide emerging institutions in research activities, provide access to harness their resources and expertise, thus bridging the gap between institutions and nurturing a robust research ecosystem in the country. Fund allocation for ANRF. The Anusandhan National Research Foundation aims to receive funds amounting to rupees 50,000 crore during 23 to 28 in the form of ANRF Fund, Innovation Fund, Science and Engineering Research Fund, Special Purpose Funds. A budgetary provisions of rupees 14,000 crore is made from the central government and remaining amount will be source through donations from any other source, including from public sector and enterprises, the private sector and organizations, foundations and institutions. The main intention of this Anusandhan is to make our country number one in innovation, as well as to make our country a Vikasit Bharat. माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के नेतृत्व में रिफॉर्म, परफॉर्म एंड ट्रांसफॉर्म ये सूत्र के माध्यम से अभी तक 40,000 से ही ज़्यादा रिफॉर्म्स हो चुके हैं और रिफॉर्म के माध्यम से अलग अलग पब्लिक के माध्यम से जो कुछ गाइडलाइंस आते हैं उसके माध्यम से रिफॉर्म्स किए जाते हैं अलग अलग डिपार्टमेंट्स के में, और रिफॉर्म के होने के बाद उसी तरह काम किया जाता है और लोगों को सुविधा मिलती है. The main intention of this is to attention of the government in India to rapid evolution of emerging technologies, which the reshaping the global economics and power structures. It is mentioned that despite a strong research ecosystem in the country, fragmentation among institutions and industry players hampers innovation and delays commercialization. It is suggested that the unified strategic body is essential to accelerate breakthrough and integrate research with policy makings. The resolution urges the establishment of a Council for Future Affairs to provide a unified framework for research-driving innovations in AI, blockchain. 2 minutes, madam. 2 minutes बढ़ा दो साहब. ताली बजाओ ना.
बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है.
The resolution urges the establishment of Council for Future Affairs to provide a unified framework for research-driving innovation in AI, blockchain technology, as well as quantum computing, small nuclear energy, water reuse, and other emerging fields. The CFA may function as an apex body comprising the expert industry leaders, policymakers, global investors, academic institutions, and startups to ensure the multi-stakeholders approach. It is also suggested that the research and product development councils be created under CFA, each dedicated to specific technological field, alleging research and national priorities. Sufficient budgetary support be also allocated to fund long-term research, prototype development, and commercialization in collaboration with the industry and global investors. Additionally, CFA will set long-term national goals, define research objectives, and formulate policies for technology transfer and intellectual property management. The resolution also emphasizes the fostering international collaborations to attempt global expertise, funding, and technology partnership. The issue raised in the resolution have already been receiving appropriate attention from the Government of India through the Empowered Technology Group, the National Research Foundation Framework, etc. ETG will constituted with Cabinet approval on 19th February 2020. It serves an institutionalized structure to proactively oversee national policies on research, development and procurement and adoption of emerging technologies, ensuring India's leadership in critical domains such as artificial intelligence, blockchain, quantum computing, small modular nuclear energy and water reuse. The Government of India has launched Anusandhan, the National Research Foundation Framework, comprehensive research and innovation strategy to strengthen India's research and development system. Anusandhan aims to bridge the gap between research and industry, enhance interdisciplinary collaboration, and ensure that the critical and emerging technologies are effectively developed and commercialized. 2 minutes, madam. Last. वाजपेयी जी 2 मिनट मैडम, मैं इतना ही बताना चाहता हूं, हमें विकसित भारत बनाना है और विकसित भारत की नींव जो है ये रिसर्च में है। और माननीय प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में हर एक सेक्टर में, चाहे हेल्थ सेक्टर हो, चाहे एजुकेशन हो, चाहे इकोनॉमी यानी फाइनेंस हो, हर सेक्टर में रिफॉर्म्स हो रहे। और जहाँ जहाँ इनोवेशन के लिए जिस इंस्टीट्यूशन हो, यानी प्राइवेट इंस्टीट्यूशन हो, गवर्नमेंट इंस्टीट्यूशन हो, साइंटिस्ट हो, स्टूडेंट्स हो, उनके लिए फंड का प्रोविजन किया है। जैसे मैंने पहले ही बताया, दिए बजट में 1 लाख करोड़ का प्रोविजन है फॉर रिसर्च। लास्ट ईयर बजट में था और रिसर्च को प्रेफरेंस दिया जाए। और माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी का नारा ही है, जय जवान, जय किसान, जय विज्ञान और जय अनुसंधान। तो अनुसंधान के माध्यम से ही हम रिसर्च के माध्यम से ही भारत को विकसित राष्ट्र बना सकते हैं। मैं डॉक्टर हूँ, मेडिकल डॉक्टर। मैं बताना चाहता हूँ, जब भारत देश स्वतंत्र हुआ तो उस टाइम हमारी एज 35 ईयर्स थी, 35 to 37 ईयर्स, और अभी हम 70.5 एज इतना यहाँ तक पहुँचे हैं, यानी वी आर ऑलमोस्ट एट द ग्लोबल लेवल तक पहुँचे हैं। तो हमें हेल्थ में अगर रिसर्च करना है, हमारी एज बढ़ाना है, जैसी जापान की एज अभी 85 है, एवरेज एज 85 to 90, तो उसमें भी रिसर्च होना है। और रिसर्च के लिए, अनुसंधान के लिए मेडिकल क्षेत्र में बहुत सारे प्रोविजन किया है। इन शब्दों के साथ मैं, हमारे कार्तिक शर्मा जी, आपने जो प्राइवेट मेंबर बिल लाया है वो बहुत ही अच्छा बिल है और गवर्नमेंट ने ऑलरेडी इसके ऊपर काम चालू किया है। गवर्नमेंट इज सपोर्टिंग दिस एंड गवर्नमेंट इन फेवर ऑफ दिस बिल, ऐसा मुझे लगता है। इन शब्दों के साथ मैं मेरे वाणी को विराम देता हूं। धन्यवाद।
धन्यवाद माननीय सदस्य डॉक्टर फौजिया खां।
Thank you, ma'am. And thank you for being so generous with time today. I'm seeing this generosity for the first time. I don't know what is the reason behind the generosity, but I think we can perceive the reason. Anyway, ma'am, this resolution which was moved by Shri Kartikeya Sharma is very imperative in today's times. Just a few years ago, artificial intelligence was viewed as a distant, futuristic concept. Today, it's an undeniable and defining force of our era. AI systems no longer remain confined to research labs. They actually shape decision-making across states, individual, corporate, and governmental. Everybody has scope to innovate. But while AI presents immense opportunities, its potential for misuse is also equally serious. One of the biggest threats is algorithmic bias. A global study in 2021 has revealed that only 20% of corporations using AI had an ethical framework in place. In a country as diverse as ours, unchecked biases in AI in these systems can deepen inequalities and erode public trust. So while we go for innovation, ethical restrictions are also very important. Addressing this challenge demands collaboration, not in silos, but through a structured partnership between academia, industry, and governance. Another major area that faces threat and potential harm in our defense is our defense and security networks and infrastructure. I think globally this is something which the world is putting their heads together for it. India's internal security landscape is no longer confined to traditional threats. We now face cyber warfare, AI-enabled surveillance, drone-based hybrid warfare, and even space-based threats. Between 2019 and 2022, cyber attacks on India's critical infrastructure have increased by 300%, according to CERT-In. Ma'am, in 2023 alone, we have suffered over 79 million cyber attacks, making us the third most targeted nation globally. Let me cite a few worrying incidents, a few examples. The 2022 ransomware attack on AIIMS, Delhi, disrupted critical medical services for days. The 2021 drone strike on Jammu Air Force Station proved how commercial drones can be weaponized by non-state sectors. China's alleged use of AI surveillance along our borders raises alarms about misuse of dual-use technologies. Ma'am, the BSNL data breach exposed 278 GB of sensitive telecom data, including SIM card details and server snapshots. The data breach at Telangana's police's Hawkeye app compromised sensitive data relating to police services. The facial recognition system of Tamil Nadu police was breached, compromising integrity of law enforcement tools. These are only a few examples, ma'am, but there are several such examples that are emerging from time to time. And these are not altogether isolated incidents. They represent the growing capabilities of malicious actors to target both state institutions and common citizens. Such breaches can lead to identity theft, to espionage, and even sabotage of democratic institutions. The government must not only enforce data protection, but also integrate AI into regulatory frameworks to monitor, mitigate, and penalize misuse effectively. Internationally, too, as I said, the threat is expanding. The 2024 Lebanon pager attacks demonstrated vulnerabilities in military networks to cyber electronic warfare. Therefore, ma'am, India must act swiftly to modernize its defense infrastructure, especially insulating critical systems from foreign-made components, particularly from countries like China, on which we are relying too much. The Council for Future Affairs, as proposed in the resolution, is a forward-looking initiative, no doubt. But I strongly advocate for a dedicated sub-body within the Council, focused solely on national security. This body must, number one, formulate national security strategies addressing emerging tech threats like deepfakes and quantum computing. Number two, regulate dual-use technologies such as AI, drones, and biometric systems. Number three, ensure rapid absorption of indigenous technologies developed by DRDO, CSIR, IITs, and Indian private defense players. Ma'am, India has the talent and technological capability, but we face a clear academia-industry gap. The Netra AI of the DRDO surveillance system can revolutionize border monitoring, but it requires integration with our central armed police forces. The drone swarm technology of the IIT Madras offers counter-terrorism solutions, but without institutional adoption, it remains underutilized. Global models like the US Defense Innovation Unit can serve as blueprints. India must create similar security-focused innovation channel within the Council for Future Affairs. Ma'am, let us not allow technology to become our vulnerability. Let us make it our shield Let us make it our shield by fostering a secure, ethical, and collaborative national AI ecosystem. With this resolution, we take a step forward towards securing India's digital and physical frontiers in an increasingly complex world. Thank you, ma'am, for not being generous with me for the time. Thank you.
धन्यवाद माननीय सदस्य। माननीय सदस्य श्री ब्रिजलाल।
Thank you, Chairperson Madam. You have given me opportunity to speak on the resolution moved by your Honorable Member of Parliament, Kartik Sharma ji. In his resolution, he has mentioned the main intention of the resolution is to draw attention of the government of India to rapid evolution of emerging technologies which are reshaping global economics, power structures. It is mentioned that despite a strong research ecosystem in the country, fragmentation among institutions, industry players hampers innovation and delays commercialization. He has also suggested that a unified strategic body is essential to accelerate breakthrough and integrate research with policy making. आपने कहा है कि ये जो रिसर्च हो रहे हैं, तमाम फील्ड हैं, तमाम लोग, लेकिन वो फ्रेगमेंटेड हैं। तो जो फ्रेगमेंटेड हैं, उसको इंटीग्रेट करने की जरूरत है, और उस इंटीग्रेट करने की जरूरत के लिए माननीय मेंबर ने वो दिया है अपना सजेशन। और क्या कहा है? द रेजोल्यूशन अर्जेस द एस्टैब्लिशमेंट ऑफ काउंसिल फॉर फ्यूचर अफेयर्स to provide a unified framework for research-driven innovation in artificial intelligence, blockchain, quantum computing, small nuclear energy, water reuse, and other emerging fields. According to him, the Council for Future Affairs may function as an apex body comprising experts, industries, policymaker, global investor, academic institution, and startups to ensure a multi-stakeholder approach. Deputy Chairperson, Madam, he has also said the Research and Product Development Council be created under CFA, each dedicated to a specific technologies field, aligning research with national priorities. Sufficient budgetary support to be allocated to fund long-term research, prototype development, and commercialization in collaboration with industry and global investor. CFA will set up a long-term national goals, define research objective, formulate policies for technology transfer. ये तमाम चीजें आपने किया है कि क्या क्या चीजें होनी चाहिए। अब मैं बताना चाहता हूं कि सरकार ने क्या किया इसके लिए। मैं बताना चाहूंगा the issue raised in the resolution have already been receiving appropriate attention from Government of India through the Empowered Technology Group, ETG. Anusandhan, the National Research Foundation framework, ETG has constituted with cabinet approval on February 19, 2020. It serves as a institutionalized structure to proactively oversee national policies on research, development, procurement, adoption, emerging technologies, ensuring India's leadership in critical domains such as artificial intelligence, blockchain, quantum, small modular nuclear energy, and water reuse. Deputy Chair, Madam, Niti Aayog is our apex body in policy making. Niti Aayog has already taken significant steps to advance India's position in emerging technologies. The Niti Aayog has also evolved strategies, roadmap and future directions in the emerging and upcoming technologies. इसमें जो कहा गया है ETG अनुसंधान फ्रेमवर्क एड्रेसेस द कंसर्न जो मेन बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है related to fragmentation research and policy coordination, bringing together key stakeholders including leaders from atomic energy, space, defense, electronics, telecommunication, science, technology, ये तमाम चीजें आपने इस पर जोड़ दिया। मैं कहना चाहता हूं एटॉमिक एनर्जी पर। अभी हमारे मंत्री, मैंने उस पर सवाल पूछा था डॉक्टर जितेंद्र सिंह जी ने। ये बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट है कि हम अपनी एनर्जी जो है वो किस तरह से उसको क्लीन एनर्जी में बदलें। तमाम उस पर रिसर्च चल रहे हैं, लेकिन एटॉमिक एनर्जी ऐसा है जो इसमें आपने दिया है मॉड्यूलर न्यूक्लियर रिएक्टर, स्मॉल मॉड्यूलर न्यूक्लियर रिएक्टर। ये क्या होगा? जहां दूर दराज के इलाके होंगे वहां ये रिसर्च हो रहा है, हो करके और ये लग रहे हैं, और दूर दराज के इलाके पहाड़ों में जहां इसकी सुविधा नहीं है एनर्जी की, वो वहां पर ये मॉड्यूलर स्मॉल न्यूक्लियर रिएक्टर ये काम करेंगे। ऑलरेडी ये शुरू हो गया है। और मैंने अपने प्रश्न पूछा था उत्तर प्रदेश के लिए, जहां हमारे नरोरा पावर प्लांट है एटॉमिक, वहां पर मंत्री जी ने बताया कि 220 किलोवाट के 2 स्मॉल मॉड्यूलर न्यूक्लियर रिएक्टर उत्तर प्रदेश में लगाए जाएंगे। तो एटॉमिक एनर्जी में हम काफी आगे हैं महोदया। पहले हमने काम किया यूरेनियम पर, यूरेनियम 235। ये टेक्नोलॉजी थी फिशन, एटम्स टूटते हैं और जब टूटते हैं तो एनर्जी निकलती है और वो एनर्जी इस्तेमाल होता है जिसको हम एटॉमिक एनर्जी कहते हैं। वो था हमारा फर्स्ट। सेकंड फेज होता है प्लूटोनियम 239। हम उसका प्रयोग कर रहे हैं प्लूटोनियम 239 का, और इसमें हम काफी एडवांस्ड हैं। उपसभापति महोदय, इसके बाद मंत्री जी ने बताया था थोरियम। थोरियम ऐसा है जिसमें 25% थोरियम हमारे पास है, और जो थोरियम में रिसर्च चल रहा है, और थोरियम में जो हम इसमें आगे आएंगे, जो हम कर रहे हैं, हमें कहीं जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी। और हमारी न्यूक्लियर एनर्जी जो होगी वो बहुत आगे होगी, जिसमें हम क्लीन एनर्जी अपने देश को उपलब्ध कराएंगे। तो ये जो हमारे माननीय सांसद जी का वो था, तो मैं कहना चाहूंगा कि न्यूक्लियर एनर्जी पर, क्लीन एनर्जी पर क्या हो रहा है। दूसरा आपने कहा डिफेंस, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है ये डिफेंस। हम जो डिफेंस जो थे, डिफेंस प्लीज, डिफेंस के सामान हम इंपोर्ट करते थे महोदय। 62 वार हुआ था। 62 वार में हमारे पास राइफलें कौन थी? 303 जब दुनिया में SLRs आ गई थी, सेल्फ लोडिंग राइफल्स आ गई थी, उस समय हमारे पास ली इनफील्ड की राइफल थी। फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड वार और सेकंड वर्ल्ड वार की लड़ी हुई राइफलें 303, और वही कारण था कि चाइना वार हम हार गए। क्योंकि आजादी के बाद जो डिफेंस में हमें मजबूत होना चाहिए था, वो मजबूत नहीं होने दिया। हिंदी चीनी भाई भाई का नारा लगता रहा, नोबेल पीस प्राइज पाने के लिए ये सब किया जाता रहा, और हमारे मुल्क ने 62 में क्या किया और हार का सामना करना पड़ा। उसमें हमारे जवानों के पास स्नो में स्नो बूट नहीं थे, कपड़े नहीं थे, राइफलें नहीं थी, 303 बोल्ट एक्शन राइफल थी, और यही कारण था। और आज क्या है? आज हमने डिफेंस में क्या किया है? आज हम एक प्लेन सीट 295, ये प्लेन जो है प्रधानमंत्री जी ने बड़ोदरा में इसका इनॉग्रेशन किया है। स्पेनिश प्लेन एयरबस का है जो हम बना रहे हैं बड़ोदरा में। हम इसमें सेल्फ सफिशिएंट होंगे। वो सभापति महोदय, पहले हम क्या करते थे? इंपोर्टेड रशियन प्लेन AN-32। वी स्टार्टेड विद AN-32। उसके बाद हमने किया AN-32, AN-12, AN-32, IL-76 गजराज। आप जो एयरपोर्ट तो जाते होगे, जाने के पहले दाहिने देखते होगे, जो उसका पूंछ ऊपर दिखाई पड़ता है वो है गजराज। और IL-76 जिस पर हमने अर्ली वार्निंग सिस्टम भी लगाए, और आगरा मैं वहाँ तैनात भी रहा हूँ, उसका बेस है। तो ये हमारे पास थे, और आज हम इसमें मिलिट्री जो प्लेन हैं, और ये ऐसे प्लेन हैं छोटे छोटे रनवे पर, पहाड़ों पर, लद्दाख में हमने बना रखे हैं, यहाँ वहाँ ये लैंड कर जाएंगे, और बड़े बड़े टैंक और तमाम मिलिट्री हार्डवेयर्स हम वहाँ पहुँचा देंगे। तो ये हम कर रहे हैं। फाइटर प्लेन्स, तेजस आप रोज अखबार में पढ़ रहे होंगे, तेजस MK1 पढ़ रहे हैं, IM का पढ़ रहे हैं। उप सभापति महोदय, हम 5th जनरेशन प्लेन बना रहे हैं, 4.5 तो ऑलरेडी हमारे पास है। तो इस तरह से डिफेंस प्रोडक्शन में हम आगे हैं। मैंने शुरू में बात किया राइफलों की, 303, आज हम बना रहे हैं AK-203। ये राइफल जो है क्लशनिकोव राइफल, ये हमारे पास हम लोगों ने इंपोर्ट किया, रसिया से किया, हमने भी इस्तेमाल किया है एज ए पुलिस ऑफिसर। और आज उसका जो एडवांस वेरिएंट है AK-203, और उसकी फैक्ट्री मेरे गृह राज्य उत्तर प्रदेश के अमेठी में लगी है। और ये है 700 मीटर रेंज है, 700 गोली पर मिनट है, और हर वेदर में कंडीशन में इस्तेमाल हो सकती है। तो महोदया, जहां हम 303 से चाइना वार लड़े, आज हम AK-203 जो लेटेस्ट दुनिया के राइफल्स है, हम उससे लड़ रहे हैं। आज ब्रह्मोस की मांग पूरे दुनिया में है। आज पूरे दुनिया तरसती है कि भारत का ब्रह्मोस, अरे तो उसका हम नेवल वेरिएंट भी ले आए हैं। तो डिफेंस प्रोडक्शन में पहले हम इंपोर्ट करते थे, आज हम एक्सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं। और माननीय मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में जो उनका डायरेक्शन है, हम एक मेजर डिफेंस एक्सपोर्टिंग कंट्री बनने जा रहे हैं मैडम। इसके बाद कहा गया है, एक बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है, वाटर की बात कही गई है। पानी, अगर शुद्ध पानी पीने को मिल जाए तो आपके 70% बीमारियां खत्म हो जाएंगी, क्योंकि ज्यादातर बीमारियां वाटर बोर्ड डिजीजेस होती हैं। उसके लिए क्या किया गया? नल से जल। हम सब जानते हैं, तमाम जगह हमारे ऐसे थी, राजस्थान में, कुछ और प्लेसेज में, जहां लड़कियों की शादी नहीं हो पाती थी कि वहां पानी नहीं है। और आज मोदी जी हर घर में नल से जल। कोई भी एरिया ऐसा नहीं है जहां हम नल से जल प्रोवाइड नहीं कर रहे हैं। अब उसके बाद हमारा देश है कृषि प्रधान, 60 करोड़ पॉपुलेशन जो है वो एग्रीकल्चर में जुड़ी है। अब इसको कैसे प्रोडक्शन बढ़ाया जाए? और ये प्रोडक्शन एक समय ये था जहां 1954 में बना हुआ PL 480 का लाया गया लाल गेहूं खाते थे, और आज इतनी पॉपुलेशन, हमारी 140 करोड़ पॉपुलेशन के बावजूद हम 80 करोड़ से ज्यादा लोगों को फ्री राशन दे रहे हैं, दाल दे रहे हैं, ऑयल दे रहे हैं, हर फील्ड में ऑयल प्रोडक्शन। आज माननीय मंत्री जी बोले, शिवराज सिंह चौहान जी, हम ऑयल में सफिशिएंट हो रहे हैं मैडम। दाल, हमारे यहाँ लोगों का प्रोटीन का मेन सोर्स है दाल, जो वेजिटेरियन है, और दाल हम सबसे ज्यादा प्रोडक्शन करने वाले हैं। लेकिन इसके बावजूद भी हमें अपने कंजम्पशन के लिए दाल इंपोर्ट करना पड़ता है। तो ऐसी ऐसी टेक्नोलॉजी आई, कानपुर में हमारे यहाँ दलहन रिसर्च इंस्टीट्यूट है। ऐसी चीजें किया गया कि जो इंपोर्ट हम तूर दाल करते हैं म्यांमार से, नाइजीरिया से लेते हैं, कनाडा से लेते हैं, टर्की से लेते हैं, और ऐसी टेक्नोलॉजी, चूंकि पानी की कम जरूरत पड़े, फसल ऐसी हो, और उसके लिए जो टेक्नोलॉजी डेवलप हुई, आज उसमें हम सेल्फ सफिशिएंट हो रहे हैं। आज कभी ने अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी ने सोचा था हमारी नदियां, गंगा, जमुना, राप्ती, तमाम नदियां हैं जो उत्तर भारत में हैं। क्या होता है यहाँ? बरसात में तो बाढ़ आ जाती है, डूब जाते हैं लोग, और जब बरसात का मौसम खत्म होता है तो हम पानी के लिए तरसते हैं। इसके लिए क्या हुआ? अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी जी ने जो सोचा, क्या? नदियों को जोड़ने का, केन बेतवा लिंक, ये पानी के लिए किया गया महोदया। केन बेतवा लिंक, इसको जोड़ करके, और बुंदेलखंड जो हमारा एरिड एरिया है, वहाँ के लोग माइग्रेट होते थे मजदूरी करने के लिए। आज केन बेतवा लिंक न केवल हमारे यहाँ का बुंदेलखंड, बस मध्य प्रदेश के जो एडजॉइनिंग एरिया है उसको दाल का कटोरा बना दे रहा है महोदया। तो एग्रीकल्चर जो हमारा ये, तो लिंक ये केन बेतवा लिंक। दूसरा हमारी टेक्नोलॉजी, ड्रिप इरिगेशन, सबके कम पानी खर्चा हो तो ड्रिप इरिगेशन इजरायली से ना हमने टेक्नोलॉजी ली, और आज ऐसा है तमाम चीज़ें हम लोगों ने किया है जिससे कम खर्च में ऐसी वैरायटी डेवलप की जा रही है कि वो वैरायटी जो है ऐसे की है कि कम पानी में पैदा हो जाएगा। महोदय, मैं तो उत्तर प्रदेश का रहने वाला हूँ। झांसी एरिड एरिया, जालौन में मैं कभी एसपी था टीटू में। आज जालौन पूरे देश को हरा मटर सप्लाई करता है, वो जहाँ जहाँ कुछ पैदा नहीं होता था। आज झांसी ऐसे एरिया है यहाँ जहाँ स्ट्रॉबेरी पैदा की जाती है। तो एग्रीकल्चर क्षेत्र में जो डेवलपमेंट हुए हैं, पानी का मैनेजमेंट हुआ है, पीने की पानी की व्यवस्था किया गया, नल से जल पहुंचाया जा गया, वहीं साथ ही साथ उपसभापति महोदया ऐसी किया जा रहा है, हम पेट भर रहे हैं और साथ ही साथ ये पानी की व्यवस्था ऐसी कर रहे हैं कि नदियों को जोड़ करके, कि जब यहाँ उत्तर भारत में नदियाँ बाढ़ में आती हैं, इतनी बाढ़ होती है, तो उसको अगर हम जोड़ दें दक्षिण भारत से और एरिया से, तो वो पानी और उसकी शुरुआत माननीय अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी जी ने शुरू किया था, केन बेतवा लिंक, और अब वो परिपक्व हो रहा है। सभापति महोदय, इसी तरह से डिजीज, जब देश स्वस्थ रहेगा तभी नहीं, हमारे नागरिक स्वस्थ रहेंगे तभी देश स्वस्थ होगा। स्वस्थ नागरिक ही डेवलपमेंट का करेगा। तो स्वास्थ्य पर क्या किया गया? ऐसी ऐसी दवाएं बनाई गई जो हमारा आयुष्मान भारत है। आज 5 लाख का कवरेज दिया गया, और 70 साल के प्लस जो लोग हैं, चाहे कोई भी इनकम हो, आज उनको दिया जा रहा है 5 लाख का कवरेज। मैं तो गांव का रहने वाला हूं। गांव में अगर किसी को, तब तो जानते नहीं थे, कैंसर हो गया, किसी को किडनी खराब हो गई, तो क्या होता, समझना राम राम करते थे, भैया इसको तो मरना, राम राम करो। आज हर जिले पर किडनी पेशेंट के लिए सुविधा है। आज डायलिसिस उनका वहीं पर हो जाता है। मेडिसिन, तमाम मेडिसिन जो थी, लाइफ सेविंग ड्रग्स, इसी बजट में उस पर घटाया गया, इंपोर्ट ड्यूटी घटाई गई, इतनी घटाई जो गरीब आदमी भी उसको अफोर्ड कर सकता है। और हमारे जो ये हैं मेडिसिन जो बनाए गए, उसके आयुर्वेदिक मेडिसिन, और जो 15,000 से ज़्यादा आउटलेट बने हैं, जो मेडिसिन मार्केट में 100 रुपया है, जो ब्रांडेड मेडिसिन है, आज उसकी कितने में कितना है? अरे 10% से 30-40%। और ये जो मेडिसिन दिया गया मोदी जी ने पूरे देश में, आज ये जो है, हाँ, तो 1 रुपया तक का मेडिसिन, तो ये जो किया गया, हॉस्पिटल दिए गए, मेडिकल कॉलेज, एम्स। अरे यूपीए सरकार में, कांग्रेस सरकार में तो खाली एम्स दिल्ली में था, आज एम्स, और दूसरा हुआ रायबरेली में, क्योंकि एक बड़े आदमी की कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी थी और वो भी नहीं चल पाया, तो आज हम एम्स दे रहे हैं। तो इसलिए एम्स में, मेडिकल क्षेत्र में, और नल से जल, दवा, सस्ती दवाएं, और जो ये आयुष्मान योजना है, इसने तो एक क्रांति ला रही है स्वास्थ्य के क्षेत्र में। आज हमारे देश का आदमी स्वस्थ है, और जब स्वस्थ होगा तो देश में कंट्रीब्यूट करेगा। तो उपसभापति महोदया, ये जो स्वास्थ्य के क्षेत्र में और एग्रीकल्चर के क्षेत्र में, टेक्नोलॉजी के क्षेत्र में, न्यूक्लियर मार्केट में, दूसरा मैडम हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी का है कि 2047 में हम विकसित भारत कर रहे हैं, और 2070 तक जीरो का, आई एम नॉट यील्डिंग मिस्टर संतोष जी, उसमें जो है जीरो कार्बन एमिशन। तो जीरो कार्बन एमिशन हम ला रहे हैं। और पहले हमारा सबसे बड़ा बजट कहाँ खर्च होता था? ऑयल इंपोर्ट में। ऑयल इंपोर्ट में आज हम 25%।
माननीय सदस्य, किस रूल के अंतर्गत आप देना चाहते हैं पॉइंट ऑफ ऑर्डर?
मैं बता रहा हूँ, पॉइंट ऑफ ऑर्डर अंडर रूल नंबर 240, that is silly and irrelevant remarks because this is out of context. When we talk about AI, no. When the discussion, allow me, please bear with me. आप देखिए, no.
माननीय सदस्य,
This is artificial
माननीय
pricing.
सदस्य, नियमों के अंतर्गत इसका अवलोकन होगा। माननीय सदस्य अपनी बात जारी करें।
प्लीज। तो मैंने बीच में हमारे मित्र इन्होंने इंटरवीन किया, तो मेरा ये कहना है कि हर क्षेत्र में हम प्रगति कर रहे हैं, चाहे टेक्नोलॉजी हो। IITs कितनी थी, आज कितनी की IITs बन गई, कितने इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेज बन गए, और सबसे बड़ा चीज फोरेंसिक साइंस में हमने नया क्रिमिनल जस्टिस सिस्टम दिया। एक बड़ा होता है किसी देश का नागरिकों को न्याय देना। अरे वो कानून अंग्रेजों ने जो बनाया था 164 वर्ष पहले, मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में उसको बदला गया। नाउ इट इज न्यू क्रिमिनल जस्टिस सिस्टम। तो हम जहां टेक्नोलॉजी में कर रहे हैं, देश के लोगों को स्वस्थ रख रहे हैं, मेडिसिन दे रहे हैं, खाना दे रहे हैं, पानी दे रहे हैं, वहीं हम स्वस्थ भारत बना रहे हैं। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आपको।
धन्यवाद माननीय सदस्य। माननीय सदस्य श्रीमती JB माथेर हिसम।
Thank you, Vice Chairman, for the opportunity. As the private members' bill revolves around technology, I wish to start by remembering the one and only father of technology revolution, the architect of digital India and telecommunication revolution, our former Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi. Many years ago, when technology was not a term which was much used, Rajiv Gandhi had the vision to think and to implement technology mission. And Rajiv Gandhi's focus was to integrate technology to lives of the people. Rajiv Gandhi incorporated through this technology mission how people's lives can be changed for the better. Rajiv Gandhi took the steps, be it immunization, be it agriculture, be it getting telephone to every ordinary Indian citizens, and most important of all, computer of what we see today the credit definitely goes to Rajiv Gandhi. My esteemed colleagues at the Treasury benches, Brijlal ji and all, can go on and on and on. They can scream, they can go to the hills of Himachal, they can speak in the valleys of Northeast, but the fact remains, father of digital India and telecommunication remains Rajiv Gandhi. Madam, now coming to artificial intelligence. We live in a very exciting time and also in a very worrisome time. Exciting time because what we have these days, everything is at our fingertips. Now, whatever we require, first thing, earlier, we used to think of asking our friend, we used to think of asking our parents, children used to think of asking parents, but we have reached a point of time which we have to accept that first we tend to ask, or this generation tend to ask ChatGPT. Many a times, many of us, while listening to any conversation, when we ask, okay, so whose suggestion was it? Let us not be surprised when they say it was not the suggestion of father, mother, brother, friend, and it is a suggestion of ChatGPT. I am saying that to bring in how important these have become. Madam, but that is the exciting part of artificial intelligence. But I wish to say, in a recent interview, Bill Gates has said, with artificial intelligence, the white-collar jobs are going to come down heavily. And also, the jobs which involve sweat may continue for a while. That exactly is where our concerns are coming. In a country with a 45-year-old high unemployment rate already, in spite of the BJP's and Modi ji's 2 crore jobs per year and all the heavy promises, which definitely goes without being taken care of. In a country where the youth is wandering with degrees in hand, where they are not able to find jobs, where they are running away from the country to elsewhere, going search of jobs, when postgraduates line up in thousands and thousands for jobs, in a country where even those educated are not finding jobs at the moment, present, what is going to happen with the coming of artificial intelligence is the biggest question and the worry. That is from the point of view of youth. As a voice of Indian youth, I wish to ask, does this government have any plan to address the issue with the coming of artificial intelligence? Example, PAs, personal assistants, the jobs are going to be cut down. What is the government? Do you have any plan? Does the government think of it? We have not seen the government thinking so far, but it is our duty to repeatedly say that please wake up from deep slumber and think about the youth of this country who is hoping, who has lost all hopes, but who is at least hoping someday they will find some job. Now, madam, the second worry is definitely the security part of artificial intelligence. Everything is very glossy, everything is very bright, everything is very nice. But when it comes to security, there is total privacy breach which is going to happen to all Indians if the government is not careful enough what's going to happen with artificial intelligence. Whether anybody's privacy can be intruded, whether one wishes something to be said or shown, whether somebody can intrude, all that is an issue which matters to every Indian, which the government should be concerned with the coming of artificial intelligence. Madam, another thing which I wish to say is again about the democracy itself at stake. Why I am saying democracy itself will be at stake by the intrusion of artificial intelligence, that there's a worry definitely. Why? Because chronology samjhiye. Kya hai? What is the chronology? What we have seen from 2014? What are we seeing? The fourth pillar of democracy, media, seems to be captured by the ruling dispensation. Whether it's national, whether it's regional, there's a total capturing of that. Where is free democracy? Those who raise voices against the ruling dispensation are being jailed. Now today, Supreme Court of India had to quash our esteemed colleague, our Imran Pratap Gadiji's one case, FIR against him. Why? Because one of the poems was against him filed. There is total breach of freedom of expression. So, from the point of view of democracy under peril, definitely our media is captured initially, first. Then what we are seeing, social media is captured. Social media is being captured. The algorithms, God knows, we don't know what is the understanding, what is the intervention, what people they wish to see, only that is being shown. What people don't want to, what the government don't want people to see, that is not being shown. So social media stands captured. Social media stands captured. Now we fear electoral IDs, voter list, that is being captured. Innumerable. We have the case of Maharashtra, where more than the actual voters, there is more number in the list. So there's how voting itself can be in peril.
माननीय सदस्य कृपया आपस में बात न करें.
Madam, thank you. Madam, another worry of democracy in peril is definitely with the coming of artificial intelligence, with the ruling dispensation trying to inject what they want to inject, which they have been using in WhatsApp through WhatsApp universities, which we are facing now. That is one part. But with artificial intelligence, if it is manipulated in such a way, they would want the people to think in a manner which only the number one and number two wish the people of India to think. That is the biggest danger that can happen. What will happen if the extreme thoughts from the Nagpur is injected into the artificial intelligence of the apps? What will happen? Who will control? All these other things where democracy itself can be under peril, madam. So, what we are worried is when Kartikeya Sharma ji is definitely urging for an institute a council for future affairs. Now, ED is under the control of the ruling dispensation. Election Commission is under the control of ruling dispensation. CBI is under the control of ruling dispensation. Now one new council formed, as suggested by Kartikeya Sharma, for Council for Future Affairs. That will also be under the control of the ruling dispensation, with democracy in India itself coming to an end. But we wish to say a day will come when not the technology, the people of India will realize whether you capture media, whether you capture social media, whether you capture artificial intelligence, a day will come where you will face the heat for all what you have done and what you are doing. Because the actual reality of our country, of the poor, of the women of this country, they are facing it, and as long as they face it, whatever artificial intelligence you try to creep in, the reality will always remain the reality. So, one of the requests I'm making, although we make repeated requests, whoever we come, whatever subject we talk to, we know there is no effect. But we still continue to be the voice of India, because we believe if we don't speak up, it is the India that is losing. I can see RPN Singh ji, I can say the Jitin Prasada ji, I can see the ST members there. But a day will come when what we believe in and what the people of India wants will always be what our forefathers wanted India to be when India was established. So I conclude, madam, by saying, Shakespeare once said, music is the food of love. Now, if artificial intelligence is for the good of the people, if it is for the good of the people, then artificial intelligence should get all its due. The government should take measures. I repeat, we have no hope in this government. This government will do it. But I repeatedly say, the security factor, the job factor, all these are matters which actually matters to Indians and the youth of the country, and women specifically is worried about the security factor of all these artificial intelligence. So that is one request which I am making, and I hope this subject will be taken in its due seriousness. And I also wish to conclude by saying, Rajiv Gandhi, with the invoking technology factor, focused on what good people should get, but not on what Rajiv Gandhi's face should be everywhere. But what we are seeing now is the Prime Minister of those times and Prime Minister of these times are very different, but we hope that everyone should at least take message from Rajiv Gandhi where good of the people was the priority and not self-interest, and said that will always be counted. And I conclude. Thank you very much.
धन्यवाद माननीय सदस्य डॉक्टर वी शिवादासन।
Madam, the need of the society is the base of the development of technology. It is reflecting in the theories of Einstein, Edison, and Newton. Everywhere we are able to understand the importance of technology. If we study the history of the development of the technology, then we are able to find out the contribution of the workforce in this development. In a democratic society, the duty of the government is to provide the facilities of the technological development to each and everybody. Madam, but the system is going in opposite direction. AI have created lot of prospects and challenges. AI, we are discussing the importance of artificial intelligence. The government should provide the benefit of technological advance to the entire society. But the question is, how can we achieve such development? Madam, I am sad to say that in India, huge number of schools are working without digital device and internet facility. Madam, we can't hide the reality from the people. That is why we should discuss the existing condition of our nation. Technology, the importance of technology, the advance of technology, this is the center portion of our discussion. Here, lakhs of employees are struggling because they are increasing workload, which created after the implementation of digitalization. Madam, some of the governments and the companies are thinking the technological development are only for exploitation and the profit making. Madam, that is why the workload of employees is increasing and the recruitment of the employment is not happening. It is not acceptable for the common people. Respected Chair, AI and the research activities should be designed with highest social responsibility. Now, in each and every sector, high technological technologies are using in banking, railway, military, and tourism sectors. AI and the digital technologies are an inevitable part of the sector. Respected Chair, now in each and every sector, the high-end technologies are able to provide the universities and other institutions, but the universities are not getting proper financial assistance for HR activities. Technology is expecting the human-to-human draggery. It should be created more space for advanced space for education, employment and enjoyment. Respected Chair, it should be enhance the efficiency of workforce. But paradoxically, the directions of imperialist world is going to an opposite direction. Respected Chair, they are using it not for the people, they are using it only for profit making. Everywhere in the capitalist world, it is the existing picture of the usage of technology. Respected Chair, look at the banking sector. Even after the smart banking, the employees are compelled to work more time in their office. Respected Chair, basic rights of the workers are being tramped upon. Look at the railway. Even after the mechanization, the employees compelled to spend more time as loco pilot. They are working long hours without rest. Respected Chair, the level of exploitation extremely increasing. Technological development changed the entire work atmosphere. Earlier, workers worked in the factories or their workspace, but now we are discussing work at home. It has created new issues in front of the workers. In the world, especially in the IT workers, they are one of the most exploited groups in the world now. Respected Chair, the employer has getting the possibility to intervene any time because of the large level connectivity of internet and modern technologies like AI. So currently, the slogan of employees, right to disconnect, is a critical topic of the discussion everywhere. Respected Chair, the Australian Parliament has enacted firework legislation which established the right to employees to disconnect from work outside of their designated work hours. Similarly, Portugal has made a registration, and like that manner, Spain has discussed the issue. Here, ensure the benefit of the technological development for all is important. And second one, ensure the well-being of the people. It is highly connected. Respected Chair, so the government should give more investment in education sector. In India, the investment for the education is below the 3% of GDP. Respected Chair, India is the largest country in the world by population. The second largest country in the world, our neighbor, China, spent 43 lakhs crore rupees for research and development. India is spending only 1 lakh crore. It is a mere amount for research and development activities. Here, less than 4% of what China spends. How can we Vishwaguru is the question in front of us. Allocation for education should be increased, and we will try to make a new political direction for the research and development activities. Some of them are promoting pseudoscience. The pseudoscience will not help the people of the nation. Here, one hand, some of them are promoting the pseudoscience. One minute. Pseudoscience. On the other hand, they are utilizing entire technological advancement for promoting the pseudoscience. These two things we should discuss, and we should promote the AI and the technological advancement for the people, not for the market, not for the profit of big corporate loot. Respected Chair, in this way, we will conduct our discussion. I request the entire parliamentarians to support the people will, to support the more investment for education, health, and research and development activities. This is my humble request to the House. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Dr. Sasmit Patra.
Thank you so much, Honorable Vice Chairperson, sir. At the outset, I congratulate and thank Honorable Member Shri Kartikeya Sharma ji for this very wonderful private member's resolution that he's brought. It's timely, it's important, and probably someone like Shri Kartikeya Sharma ji thinking about it is the need of the hour. I have only 5 minutes, so I'll be very brief.
Aap boliye.
Thank you. Firstly, he has asked through his private member's resolution, Honorable Vice Chairman, sir, to institute a Council for Future Affairs, which would essentially be a cerebral hub for unified strategic framework for futuristic areas. I think we need to create such a cerebral hub, such a think tank, such a thought leadership in our country, especially a country which has got so much of talent with 1.4 billion people. Now, why is this needed? What is the need for it? Let's start with the first area. Everybody is talking about artificial intelligence. We're a large country. We have a lot of technology. China, DeepSeek, their LLM platform comes in. The day the LLM platform comes in, NVIDIA, which is one of the topmost, loses its capital market share by more than 20%. The stocks crash across the country and the world. Reason is technology is going to be the disruptor. Similarly, when we talk about artificial intelligence, ChatGPT has been one of the forerunners. But as a country, we are trying our best to make the next LLM, which will become the large language model, which will drive AI. The Honorable Minister, Shri Ashwini Vaishnavji, has said in 6 months' time it will be. But I believe this is only the beginning of AI. Artificial intelligence is going to pervade every step of our lives as we go forward. Whether it's education, health, agriculture, anything that you can think of, it's going to be like the internet is it for us today. Because of a paucity of time, I'll go on to the second one, quantum technologies. Sir, we are underestimating quantum technologies. Quantum technologies will have the power to decrypt your credit card in less than 2 minutes. That's the kind of teraflop counter computing that is going to happen. We have to start instrumentalizing it in our labs, in our schools, in our colleges, in our universities. Who's going to think about it? Something that Sri Kartikeya Sharma ji is saying in this private members' resolution. Number 3, cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is going to be the key because your money, my money, our money is going to be digital money. And tomorrow, hackers sitting in China, hackers sitting in various countries are hacking into the systems of our cybersecurity firewalls and trying to threaten us. They're not going to come to you. They're going to come to public sector banks whose cybersecurity we are not really thinking about. We're not upgrading it. We need to work on the futuristic areas where countries like China, America, others are doing it. We need to create a platform that has to pervade across the various silos. Autonomous and hypersonic transport systems, which is going to revolutionize the way we move across our great country. To fly from Delhi to Kerala takes 3 hours. Can a hypersonic system take us in 3 hours? That's a question. People are doing it. US is doing it. Where are we in terms of doing that? That is why there is a Council for Future Affairs necessary. To future think, to ideate, to become the thought leader that where will our country be as the #1 country 50 years from now. Being economically powerful is not enough. We have to be futuristically, cerebrally powerful. Future of AI and displacement. One of the future of AI we all talk about is jobs are going to go. That's a reality. But I believe future of AI is going to provide us more opportunities for the youth to become innovators rather than employees. And for that, we need this council. We talked about next generation defense technologies. Wars won't be fought on infantry. Wars will be fought on drones and automated systems. Are we prepared for it? And are we deep mining it? Our technologies, even today, though we are trying to become Atmanirbhar, a lot of our radar technology comes from Israel. A lot of our technology comes from Russia. We have to think about the software, if not the hardware. That is where this council is necessary. Future energy in nuclear fusion. A couple of days back, Honorable Minister Shri Singh was talking about it. I think it's a critical area where we have to identify how we are going to follow the path of energy resilience and energy security. I come to ethical AI and I'll go quickly into zero waste, smart cities and circular economy, crypto economy, AI in health. My time is out. I'll just take 30 seconds and I'll conclude. That's very kind of you, Honorable Chair. So let's look at the structure that Shri Sharma is talking about. The structure talks about a multi-stakeholder system. I agree with it. I'd also like to suggest to him, can we have innovation hubs where children start thinking in our classrooms, in our libraries, that where do they say India 30 years from now, 40 years from now? What will be the India that they will grow old in? We are growing older in a country that we see. But somebody who's 10 years, 15 years, 20 years old, where does he see the India 50 years from now? That ideation, that innovation has to happen, and we have to start identifying the prototyping and taking it forward. He's talked about the research and development councils. I believe the research and development in terms of funding, everybody's talked about it, I'll just be reinventing it, would be that we have to at least have 6% of the GDP on research and development. I'd like to go back to the national education policy and Professor Kasturi Rangan, who said that 3% of GDP needs to actualize NEP. I would say I'm being less ambitious than him. I'm saying let's have a council, provided the powers of at least 6% of GDP, and allow it to broad base across the country in terms of finding the right talent. It's in the villages, it's in our towns, and let's bring them together. In terms of objectives, I'll just end with one small thing and I'll be done. In terms of the ecosystem, one of the areas which I would suggest to Sri Sharma and to the House is, let's tap into the rich Pravasi Bharatiyas that are across the world. When I travel abroad, I find a lot of people from my state and others who are professors in great universities. There are people who are really working in sectors of artificial intelligence, nanotechnology, strategy, and various other areas. So my suggestion to you, Honorable Vice Chairman, sir, is that let this entire discussion not only be within the contours of India with the kind of technology that we have, but let's get the best of brains across the seas. Indians who have benefited from our IITs and IIMs have gone ahead, have done a name for themselves. Let's bring them back, be the soft power. I'm pretty sure with this resolution that Sri Sharma has brought in, Sri Kartikeya Sharma ji, I think a Council for Future Affairs is necessary, pervading and breaking the silos and creating a unified cerebral thought leadership for our nation. Thank you, sir.
धन्यवाद. श्री सदानंद मालू तानवड़े. श्री संतोष कुमार पी.
Thank you, sir. On 26 July,
अभी 5 बजने दो.
So should I stand up or? 26 July.
माननीय सदस्य, गैर सरकारी संकल्पों का समय समाप्त होता है.
I know that. So I asked you.
Message from Lok Sabha.